against them. Let's see the bans.
It looks like we are going to be banning out both Cursed Hollow and Tomb of the Spider Queen. The first pick going to be a Gen.G pick, the Sky Temple.
Temple first game is actually a unique one from Gen.G. You would usually just snowball in the game 2 or the later games, not the first game. But here we go, 6 bans, first one for Tempest. Certainly they have been watching a lot of EU games. And I think the top teams all agree that Avatar in lots of the big maps, Cursed Hollow, Towers of Doom, even Sky Temple has been rising up a lot. And also Alex Raza is one of the picks that they are actually considering as well.
You know, I'm excited to see what Sky Temple looks like between these two teams. We didn't see them play against each other on this at MSB, and we haven't seen really any or very much from Tempest since you know, the recent 6-ban and hero rework changes have come through. But let's take a look at what things look like with no Avatar, no Genji, all the popular assassins taken off the board. What is this going to look like? Because we could just see a return to a very standard draft phase.
Will be about the same. Top tier heroes getting the globals with the Haka, picking up Phoenix for the siege damage. And also the ones with the escape seems to be the most popular one for lots of reasons, of course. Still do have that Hanzo for Tempest. I think they are considering grabbing it here along with Irel. But it's going to be Science Anubarak instead in this case. They do want to have that solo line matchup against Teaka will be the later one, but grabbing that Anubarak for Sign seemed like a very good choice.
And the Hanzo similarly very, very good, you know, high camp damage, so that's going to be very effective. A Blaze ban here, you know, it's been very common to see Urel actually banned out in the second phase, or even first phase sometimes. So with the Blaze ban, you know, that means that you're specifically getting rid of the bunker is a big sort of counter-engage option. Might give a little bit of information to Tempest about what could be coming in phase 2.
Less forgiving ones without the bunker. So they have to put out some extra ones out there to have not just sustained healing, they may lack the burst one. First DPS that's going to come out from Gen.G, we could kind of see that that's going to be the case, along with Phoenix, Dehaka. They get a few CCs in and delete one. So that's the reason why they took out one of the burst, which is Li Ming. And they will continue that with Kerosene.
That is true. I love that Kerosene is becoming so popular now. If you guys are maybe stereotypically not support players, try it out because it does not feel like you're playing a support. So much damage now that 7-sided is so popular. And of course the Muradin just emerging as one of, if not the strongest tanks, especially when you need the lockdown. Which is the word we're going to be saying a whole lot today. But here's the Urel, actually picked last along with the Falstad, so mirroring that global that was picked first for Gen.G on Dehaka.
I was actually a little surprised when they banned Blaze. They have their own global. It seemed like they wanted Tempest to grab onto that Falstad and Irel together. And they go for it. That was led by Gen.G, which was a lot more common, which a lot more likely to get picked up by Tempest.
Tracer!
And the reason why was the Tracer. Irel's peel is okay, but quick enough even against Tracer, the hammers will actually get her, which means that Irel will not have that skill for the extra dashes that may come in later. So ready to snipe on the target Tracer without too much healing or shield on herself, which means this game, this kind of draft from Gen.G is relying a lot on their mechanics.
Yeah, absolutely. Last time these two teams played, it was Tempest that brought out the Trace Star versus Gen.G, but now they'll bring it to bear. Of course, one of, if not the sickest jerseys out there. I know Wolf, of course, has himself one of those Tempest jerseys, but of course, many fans supporting Gen.G in the audience as well. One of, if not the most popular, successful Korean esports organization we have right now, specifically in Heroes of the Storm. They are here to do battle. One of their strongest rivals in Tempest.
Let's see how Gen.G rotates. I wonder, letting them take Falstad just meant that let's just go head to head, one global each. try to have the 4-man rotation. I think we're going to have a faster rotation in that way with the mobile units like Tracer, Kerosene for themselves, have some CC as well. Compared to that, Tempest has Peel, but most of the damage does rely on Hanzo. They have also CC, so 4-man rotation, a lot holding on Hanzo and Tracer to get that snipe. Seems like it's gonna be a little bit easier for that Tracer though, with super mobile skills built onto her.
Yep, anytime I see Tracer, I always think to myself, well, this is going to reward not only the individual player's mobility, but the team and their macro, the mobility that you see there. Tis taking a little bit of early damage in not quite the 5-on-5, but the big battle in the middle. We already see our side lane matchup about to be dispersed. Tracer maybe making her way up for an early trip to that top half of the map. But no, going to rotate right back down again.
Kyocha will be having a tough time against Cyril Dehaka. Very hard matchup there. Does have the global though. Lockdown in the middle because Zirel is a top lane matchup. I was maybe expecting. No, that's not gonna be too good. Falstad has to join top or bottom at any time, so it seems like that's the right distribution for Tempest.
But now, because both of our teams are very well practiced, and the drafts do look a little bit more solid than some of the ones we've seen in our first series, this is going to look a lot different. It's going to come down to the macro, the rotations, which look more solid, and how well they use the mobility. You said that Gen.G has a lot of that, specifically with the Tracer, but we haven't actually seen Tis really put, or not Tis, Tracer really put that to use just yet. Kind of maneuvering between mid and top, but not to great effect just yet.
That's the chain CC we're gonna see on Ridge. In this case on Phoenix.
Getting there for lockdown onto Good, and he's gonna go down as the first blood. And now another tongue lash right on in. Phoenix getting a kill onto a new Barak, a dead Beetle there for Tempest. Two more come towards Gen.G.
Gen.G actually built a wall around Phoenix, making sure Tempest cannot really dive in and do damage. It was near the damage of the turrets as well. So if Tempest, they dove in along with the Nubarak, who I think was diving a little bit too deep. And that's why on the retreat run, it took a longer time for them to actually go safely retreat into the wall. Gen.G grabbing 2 kills already, didn't really think about the quick rotation of Tracer. Again, it's really coming in handy for Gen.G.
Holding a couple of talents there on Tempest, but yeah, just going to be the Avenging Wrath build coming through for Urel, and I'm just waiting to see if there's any other to maybe talk about. Both teams hit level 5. The level discrepancy actually not that much right now, so both teams doing a pretty decent job soaking things up. Even though Dehaka's been having some rough matchups, whatever lane he goes to, still able to get that experience for the rest of his team and throwing fights to great effect. Now catching another potential pick there on the side, but just pushing him out away from that vision.
Falstad already at the bottom. Prepping a few extra weight, try to delay the rotation of Dehaka.
Yep, gonna get a few free shots, but more importantly, it will be about the rotation. Now coming up, catching a wave, rejoining the team as they go to take that middle temple. Top, of course, already captured by Sake earlier on, and now, of course, Reset helping him defend that. They will control it for its full duration.
Losing a lot from Temple Dami, taking a little bit too much, and there's a false bomb, continuing with the damage of Ridge, getting the kill under the force. Or they're diving in heavy because they have the wave prepared, and that's going to be the second one.
And that's even before Sake even joins the fight. Imagine if he had been there earlier. It would have been even more of a travesty. And so they get full temple control on the top. They take this fort down up top as well. And even with control of that middle temple, it's Gen.G that make the most out of their first early objectives. And they're going to go right back to the temple, take it down again, and now put even more damage down, this time onto the middle fort.
Yeah, they have insane mobile comp, and depending on their focus, and guessing they will have most of the skill shots land on. Tempest, they cannot be on a retreat like that on a run. They have to be all the way in the back because you can kind of tell there will be a very strong dive along with a giant wave like that at top. I think Tempest was a little bit lost of what to do. We have to defend their fort, but they can dive us, but we don't have a Nubarak because we're late on the wave clear as well. And we did lose the few at the bottom. And really the big macro picture started at that moment for Gen.G.
Right.
Snowballing everything from a scratch when they have a smallest lead. That's the team that you actually have here. Even Dami on that Irel can die here.
That's right. Pulse Bomb absorbed though, so Dami did tank up quite a bit of damage. Sherelle, by the way, so he'll be healing up very effectively. But Gen.G hold and actually almost take out Dami there. I was a little bit worried for a second. One of the cool things about Sky Temple is that if you do run a very highly mobile composition, it's very rare that you get a map where you can deal damage to one location from another one. But if you control one temple, you can deal damage to another fort, even if it's all the way across the map. And then that's exactly what Gen.G did. They controlled the top temple, and then were able to deal damage not only to the top fort, but also a few shots heading mid as well. So really just getting the most out of that position early, and now maybe a pick onto Kyocha.
Not yet. There's the peel from Dami. I guess that is the reason why we have Moonfire at 1, Celestial, I think. To have some more reveal onto the heroes. Especially on the Tracer, because Tracer will just come around the side. In this case, Tracer cannot be just in the front, dive in alone because there's no shield. There's not much of a healing amount from Karazim as well, so oftentimes Tracer comes from the side. You want to have her revealed for a longer of a time that you actually want to have your eyes on. So I think that's the reason why we have that one from Malky.
Kind of interesting, but very important, like you highlighted, G-Club. But now that we do have a level 10 for Gen.G, we do get a chance to see their heroics, and I guess they all look pretty good. The biggest one for me is going to be Isolation. I want to see if that can just come out and really be used well to limit either some of the mobility, make Good's life a little bit more hectic. They can hit that on the back line, and the visibility on Tracer will be important when we do actually have both teams clash, but will this actually be the time as Gen.G are controlling that southern temple? It doesn't look like Tempest are willing to fight heads up just yet, even though they have 10.
They had chances to fight back after 10, right, when they had 10, but very likely because Gen.G is snowballing so far in this game already. They know exactly how to the boss timing when they were before 10. Tempest, they had a moment, but it was going to be very risky and very advantageous for Gen.G. So having that controlled, and then the temple after, they have the global control. They have massive lead, one full level lead, and even against Tempest. So they are not really fighting, but rotate just to make sure they don't fall behind too much, because Gen.G's tempo is way too fast right now.
Well, that's one of the most frustrating parts about playing against Gen.G. Even if you may be a better team, fighting team, they'll get the advantage in the long run from just being more solid on their rotations, on their mobility. And they've drafted a perfect comp to allow them to really leverage that advantage. See Reset even feeling comfortable going that far forward, even without any support to shield him. Still going in.
He has a recall, so no reason to back off, as he also has lots of blinks charged in as well. Unless there's a surprise attack by Nubarak, tuning with some cocoons as just to get the backups now. And Gen.G slowly coming in here as Falstad, I believe he used Flight to come all the way up there, so should be on cooldown. Now revealing where Falstad is, Gen.G decides to go a little bit safer in this case. It was a great move by Falstad by not showing himself and not having really, so that Gen.G has lack of understanding where Falstad would be coming from, and having a gust from the backside, it could actually open up a team fight for Tempest. So Gen.G decides not to risk that.
Middle and bottom temple phase coming up. Falstad moving northbound to take out that camp before it pushes through the wall into their keep. Don't want to let that get out of control. Meanwhile, Reset pushing the mid lane, guarded by his parent protector, Kyocha, there to kind of babysit, make sure that that is safe. And of course, to control the temple now that they are just now coming online.
Pre-13 is, of course, the main reason why Tempest is taking some time to rotate slowly. They don't really want to be isolated by one and get 7-sided, and chain blow CC pulse from that secures a kill. So they do lose a lot of the tempo shots from the mid, but still better than the bottom one, because there's less of a retreating point at the bottom. There's a snipe from Reset. Good does survive. There's a Tranquility healing back now. There's a gust, but only Tis will get B on the backline. Arrow does not really follow up, but gets Phoenix as a kill. A follow-up with the Hanzo. They lacking damage now, Tempest. They have to have Lockdown doing damage, but Lockdown is out of the fighting zone, which means they will not have any DPS to get extra kills. Gen.G following up with so much more, as they still have Tracer, Karazim, and much more CC to follow up everything else with.
That's true, and it really picture perfect, especially by the time that Kyocha got there. Isolation coming in. I don't know. There's so many players that you could highlight there. Even with Tracer getting that last Pulse Bomb kill, kind of the cherry on top of what was a very delicious team fight for Gen.G. They take now a 2-level advantage and are just non-stop crushing. They're about to hit level 16 to continue to have that talent advantage, which is just so pronounced, even in fights like the one we just saw.
That was a very bad gust by Lockdown. Actually, Hondo just escaped from the threat by getting healed from Tranquility, and then send the Morden right next to him was a pretty bad gust there. I think he almost panicked at that moment. And after the gust, he was alone to the right, so he had to kind of escape, not pulling out the damage. And if you lose Hanzo, when Falstad is out of the fight, rest of the members say, hey, we have no DPS, what do we do? And make an escape there. So Gen.G just costing Phoenix in that team fight, made the right choice, and the gust was a big move, big mistake by Tempest, I would say.
And almost more impressive than winning a team fight like that for Gen.G is their ability to grab objectives off of that. So they try for the boss here, but look at this gust, much better. Will blow Rich right up close and personal, but he does kite back to the back. Lockdown dealing a lot of damage though, takes out his shield, and even with a warp away, I think Lockdown might still win that 1v1 in the back, and he does.
And continuing good to survive so long. Reset has to come all the way from the side, isolated. Irel trying to save, but Reset still popping out damage. Dami tries to get the boss gun, but that's going to be the death pit for himself, as Tis is still surviving 1v3 at the back line. That's going to be down Hanzo. He went over the wall, but not the second time here.
Lockdown going deep, looking for a pick on a Tracer, but he can't find it. So now he's being chased away by Kyocha. Reset's still very, very low, but too mobile to actually go down.
Kill for the kill. He does have the pulse bomb. He's very low, but there's no one to actually chase him down.
Oh, and
this is down.
Just cleanup from Gen.G. Reset, even though he's low, still too mobile to go down. And he actually might, like you said, go for this kill. Chasing Sign all the way back. The only surviving member, Tempest, after that boss fight.
And in the meantime, boss is already onto the key. This key is going down. Certainly, great gust try by Tempest. Lockdown having a good angle, but you gotta know when Dehaka is there, can just burrow right there, dodge that gust, and be on the boss right after. Gen.G just understanding that moment. They knew that Tempest was coming, and there was still a big lead. And if you take that, if they were actually toe-to-toe, levels 16 to 16 or 17 to 17, I think Hanzo would have got the kill on the Tracer. Reset barely survived on that duel.
It was very close, but he played that very well. I do also want to highlight that even though, Falstad's gust was a little bit off in the previous fight, that one was okay, and he actually won the 1v1 off to the back against Rich and killed him. So all of a sudden it's like, well, Phoenix is out of the fight. Maybe there's an advantage. Maybe there's a way for Tempest to win here. But Gen.G is just way too good. Now they're actually going to come in to try to contest the bottom temple. Or will they? I thought for a second Rich and Sake were going to go in, but...
Do not run out of breath, Rapid, as this game might be a longer one. Gen.G still closer to 20. Of course, but Tempest, there are chances of coming back still. They did not have the best team fight. They were not really having too much synergy with the Cocoon, with the Tranquility, and having some Hanzo's arrow, having some lockdowns onto that Reset's Tracer. That has been the most harassing tool, because Blinks, it's really hard to get all that down. CCs, they're usually very slow. There's no Twilight Dream to stop that Tracer from blinking from here to there. So CC is very slow from a Nubarak, and actually went for the shield at 4, so that's less of a range for that burrow charge for himself. I think Sign was really looking for luck when he was diving in to get some CCs on the Tracer most of the time. So off to a very bad situation, certainly still Gen.G maintaining the lead.
And this lead is going to culminate with that final level 20 heroic talent tier advantage coming in just in moments. And they might even hit that before Tempest hit 18. So a big power spike potentially in Gen.G's future. As if they even need that, right? They've had that advantage for the most part of this game, and they're just continuing to leverage that as they take control of not only temples, but they win every single fight they pick. You can tell that Tempest are trying to keep up in the macro and the rotations. They're just 1 or 2 steps behind, and even if maybe they get there in time, they're behind in levels, so now can you really fight against now a level 20 Gen.G?
And the reason why, even though Tempest is actually soaking into lanes and Gen.G usually moving 4-man or even more as a 5-man, is because Gen.G understands the delay of the wave, how the waves are controlled, so they don't really lose too much XP, even when they move as a 5-man. When they move as a 5-man and see there's no threat, they send a Tracer to the other lane when the lane is getting stacked, so does not really waste too many experience, and that is the reason why, even though Gen.G has a 5-man rotation most of the time in this game, they're not really falling behind. They're actually maintaining lead against Falstad. They have 20, so Tempest, can they actually make a move, initial move here?
Dami and Tis battling it out in the front, but Lockdown's actually half health before the fight really even starts, and that is actually going to be a big salvo off way back to the back. Lockdown's okay, and so just really kind of I don't know, formality, the early part of this
Try to
fight.
get the stun on the Tracer that missed the arrow. Not connect great recall timing that was coming very soon. But because of that, they are going to pressure Gen.G a little bit more. There's still Pulse Bomb thread for reset. That wasn't an NA arrow by mistake. I think he was trying to catch the Tracer that was diving in for a second.
I think you have to try, right? But Tracer mobility has really kind of been the story here for Gen.G. It's not only allowed faster rotation or participation in lanes, but it also has been able to avoid really any attempt. And now Lockdown versus Reset, he's actually just going to fly away. Does not want any part of that 1v1. Cocoon back, hits on the Phoenix, now Tis to the front line, running backwards.
They have to go back rotation. It's way too slow for Irel. They had a good understanding. Not really committing all in was the right choice, even though they had Cocoon. It seemed like we could possibly go into Phoenix, maybe burst down himself, but missing an Irel was a big one for their backline of their own. So good choice still. Still pre-20. So understanding the situation for Tempest. They're still holding on to this game at least.
No keeps is a big deficit to fight back from, but they will try. The boss is where one of our final battles will be. A beautiful 3-man gust comes in from Lockdown all the way back in the back. Tis in the back though, trying to get on to Good. It's going to force Good into a very bad situation. Now Reset, doing what Tracer does, right back to back, very, very mobile, harassing Dami in the back. There's 7-sided coming down, lots of damage onto Lockdown.
The hide is already caught, but this seems like a win. This seems like a win for Tempest, but not really. Gen.G, they will get the damage. They will finish off Hammer. Hammer from Irel tossed everyone back, so they will actually get the boss, but it doesn't really matter. They can go straight to the core, and Gen.G will finish the game. So Tempest, they got what they wanted. It seemed like that was the thing that they wanted to have that for the game to go to the keep and to the core, but they had to get the boss and win the team fight together. That was the only way of coming back. Unless they had a very good trade, like a 4-4 that you can really have. We cannot really have a core call with just one from Gen.G, but that was certainly not going to happen when you use all the skill shots to take the boss for your team.
Absolutely. The moral victory is the boss, but the actual win will go to Gen.G after all is said and done. Valiant